at the same time. Yes, this is why you and I are here. Mm-hmm. Our first podcast, the Delivery Diaries. Oh, wait, you stay. You go ahead and introduce it. You actually came up with the name.
So it's Delivery Diaries, the podcast.
Podcast.
It's very exciting. It's very
exciting. Thank you.
I'm excited to be here. I'm glad. I mean, after, a year and a half of talking about this at this point.
I know.
So
yeah, longer than carrying a baby.
Longer than carrying a baby. This is like elephant pregnancy, right? Like 18 or 24 months or whatever it is.
I learned something new. Now our listeners are learning something new.
Something like that.
Yes. Eventually, the next stages of Delivery Diaries will go to animals. But no, really. I mean, we'll travel the world. But yes, so thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. So I have to admit, Flo is, well, let's introduce ourselves because Flo is the podcast master. My name is Brandy Breth. And I am a co-host of Delivery Diaries, the podcast. And here we have...
I'm Flo Speakman. I'm also co-host of Delivery Diaries, the podcast. And I am a podcast consumer.
Yes.
So this is the first time. I mean, it's not the first time I've been on a podcast. It is the first time I have been co-host of a podcast. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, me too. Thanks for having the time, putting in the time, and just being a yes to being a part of this podcast, because it is something special that's a part of Delivery Diaries. And of course, everyone that's listening, and we're also on YouTube. So I guess it's a video podcast.
A video of us talking to each other.
Yes, you can tune into that too. We'll give that information out as well. This is an opportunity to extend Delivery Diaries company. And we're here to, what are we here to do?
We're here. You're so funny. We're here to talk about the journey to family and the different ways that people get family or create families.
Create families, yes.
And Delivery Diaries, because delivering a baby, a lot of times is how a family is started, even if it's not the person who is the parent that delivered the baby.
Well, yeah, that's what we're going to encompass and obviously, let's just go straight into the heart of it. The heart of the matter is the storytelling. And that's what drew you to partnering with me on this journey, because I'll share my delivery diary in another podcast, and you'll share yours in another episode. But really, it started from my experience of obviously being pregnant with my first child. So I have 2 kids. One is 6 and the other just turned 2. And how it's really, this journey started with Delivery Diaries is there were 4 of us friends, mama friends now. We were friends in LA, single, married, and then had kids in the same year time span. We all had boys. One was an adoption within the delivery room. She was there in the delivery of her son. Other was a home birth or a birthing center. And 2 of us were hospitals. One was NICU, early delivery too. So it's just a lot of different experiences that we were sharing with each other and learning from each other. And it really got me to like, wow, your story, my story. How come I didn't hear about this? No one told me about this. And I only had one girlfriend that told me about the hospital, diapers and underwear. So it's like that one girlfriend I needed to just really share these like experiences of preparing for delivery. So Delivery Diaries, we are here to share prenatal, delivery, and postpartum experiences. So that's really the heart of it too, and within sharing that is through our stories. So that's how I got started in this journey. Of course, I knew Flo from other projects we worked on. And I'll let you share it, but in another lifetime, in a future lifetime, you would be a doula. You can be a doula or a midwife,
So my experience of getting pregnant and giving birth, and again, we'll cover all of the details of it, it was pretty spectacular. And I had a doula who worked with us through the last few months of the pregnancy. And I thought after going through the way that I went through it, I thought, I really want to bring this I would really love to, if money was no object, be a midwife, a doula, something to help women through this and one of the reasons why I said to you when you told me what you were doing, I really wanted to be a part of it is because we've lost our village in a lot of ways. And so these are, childbirth, delivery, child raising, family creation really was part of when we were lived in villages more than in urban centers. The older women passed down to the younger women. There were midwives. There were women involved in every aspect of of this kind of thing. And we've lost a lot of that.
Yeah.
And just at least in urban environments, we've lost a lot of that. And you see some of it being reclaimed in a 21st century way, like this, right? Like we can sit here and talk about the diapers in the hospital, you know, and certain things that happen that you didn't expect, like, you know, having to deal with breastfeeding or postpartum depression, or, you know, just the things that we all go through, or some of, not all of us, but things that are common, you know,
but common, but aren't talked about,
or
stigmatized.
Right. I didn't know how common miscarriages were until I had one. Right. And so, you know, when you start talking about it, and when you start talking to other women about it and learn that, you know, their experiences, you're like, why wasn't this talked about in a health class in 5th grade or whatever? Like, I mean, maybe not 5th grade, but, right. But just, you know, like,
early on.
Yeah. You know,
because it's our bodies, it's our life, and it's our
where was all this information?
I know.
And I think for me, if coming out of Delivery Diaries, if one woman has a better experience because of what I went through, because of what you went through, and you know, because of what other people in our who are going to be on the podcast because of what they went through, if one person is touched, it'll be worth it. Oh because God. It's just, you know, it's just, it's the nature of it. And we're in the 21st century where families are created any which way.
Yes. And right? That is going to be exciting to learn about.
It's so fun.
So I say on this, especially in this podcast, once we launch, Delivery Diaries actually launches, coincide with the podcast, you'll see on the website, I actually did sit down interviews pre-pandemic in 2019, and we'll do follow-ups with those moms on a podcast. But, oh my God, where was I going? This is mommy brain in real time. But that is when I learned, like, I started doing mommy notes, my mommy notes on my iPhone. Oh, a C-section. I had a C-section. Oh, NICU baby, you know, or experiences, home birth. And then as I started talking about Delivery Diaries and started paying more attention in news segments or just like around, and celebrities are more open now, moms, about their pregnancy experiences or postpartum. It's like, I didn't know about that. Oh, I didn't hear about that. Let me put that on the list, and let me put that on the guest list of future people to interview. So I'm really excited about that. What are some people or some guests or people that have experiences that you're looking forward to having on the podcast?
I am honestly like really looking forward to talking to people who make their families in unique ways, right? Like a trans man becoming pregnant, or the way that you know, I had some friends who were lesbian couples, how they got their, you know, how they ended up deciding who was going to be the sperm donor and how all that stuff, just sort of, or even friends who single moms who've adopted because they wanted to be a mother but didn't necessarily want to be partnered. People that go through IVF, to me, that's fascinating. It's like science, you know, colliding with our basic, you know, drive to procreate.
Yeah.
You know, it's just all of it is so fascinating.
It's all of it. And Delivery Diaries includes, and, you know, for those listening, we're including everyone in all of it, because however you deliver a baby, come on the show or share your stories on social media and with us, because there is no one way. There is no right way. And I do not make myself or say that I'm an expert. I'm an expert at delivering a baby. That is what I do know for sure. But the podcast is not, we're not experts, Flo and I, and other people's experiences. We may have actual experts come on, like OBGYNs and doctors and doulas and other people of certain professions, but they're going to be sharing their delivery diaries too. Not just talking to us, but talking with us in a conversation and sharing their stories.
Right. And we're not here to give medical advice or any of that. Like,
there's enough. You know, there's great podcasts for that, which I'm happy to share that I've listened to.
We're not here to give advice. We're here to, like you said, experience the stories and to really understand, you know, how everybody's journey to family is different.
Yeah. You know? And I think once we hear people's stories, then we create more empathy. And when there's more empathy, there's more love and compassion and understanding in the world. Let's start with that. And in the world, maybe you can also just sneak into legislation too. I'm just going to keep it real, okay? If people know me.
Body autonomy and reproductive rights are really important right now.
Especially
as we're coming up on this midterm election and you know, Handmaid's Tale's just releasing. I don't know if they just released or released soon.
I saw something soon, and I only watched 3 episodes of the first season. I couldn't take it, so, but that was years ago. But just so the listeners have a understanding, when I first started Delivery Diaries, it was like, do I want to? Is it political, non-political, yada, yada, yada. It's like, I want to include everyone, conservative people, deliver. I'm obviously not conservative. People that know me, I'm very liberal, progressive. I didn't want to exclude. That was the biggest thing about Delivery Diaries. I don't want to exclude. I want to be inclusive. However, because it is my company, it's a function of myself. Delivery Diaries is a function of my self-expression. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be true to myself. And I wouldn't be authentic if I did not have my own voice within Delivery Diaries.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, you'll hear my opinions on matters and, that I really feel strong about. And I'm not here to exclude, people that are trying to create a family. Because we'll never talk about politics or anything else on certain episodes. But you'll see on the site and you'll see on other things that should be sharing with Delivery Diaries is how to have access to healthy pregnancy, right? Or postpartum support, especially I experienced postpartum depression after my first child. So, I just want to be straight up with you guys, the listeners and the viewers, because it's important that you know where I'm coming from and where Flo's coming from. And we're going to be having guest hosts too, which I'm excited because this is really a community. It's the village. It's the village. I've had moms be like, oh my God, I want to be on it. Okay, well, why don't you host an episode? Because that's my background. So my background, I'm an independent film producer. And so it's only a natural correlate that I have conversations and interview people and tell stories. And so I have producer friends that do this for a living, or like, yourself too in the business Flo, where you could share what your background is. But I don't want you to be a guest to my friend. I want you to host something. So tell me when you want to host. So we're going to share the love, and we're going to spread the time as moms.
Absolutely,
because
right?
It's like, I'm gonna keep it straight. Like, my husband is out with the kids right now. Like, I have quiet time. They're gonna, and the Delivery Diaries is seasonal. We chose to make it seasonal so we can have a break because I don't want to be burnt out. Yeah.
So you were, I'm a little bit closer to center than Brandy in the world of politics, but we do share the political leaning of like body autonomy is important, and we will talk about it during the podcast occasionally because it is part of the journey to family, and for some people is this kind of experience. And so I don't know. I mean, what's next? What are we talking about next?
I have 3 lines of my short. Yeah, your background. I was going to say.
Okay, so my current mythology about myself is that I'm a recovering film producer. And
I love it.
What that means is for many, many, many years, I was in the entertainment industry in all facets, producing, managing, and I was operations manager at a film and television studio for a long time. And then I went into corporate education for a little while, and now I'm a chief operations officer for a small IT company and CRM consultancy, which is amazing and wonderful in its own right, and allows me the depth and breadth to be able to do this kind of work that I love with Brandy and so I'm excited. I'm excited to get Delivery Diaries launched and into the world and find out, what's next for the D&D, for DD.
Yeah. So. I mean, I think that sums it up really good. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll have all the information you need to get onto your to listen into this podcast wherever you listen to any of your podcast outlets. Anything else? Because you're the podcast guru.
Oh, just thank you, and we're excited to have you here. We're excited to have you listen. We're happy to take any feedback. We'd love listen as long as you're not mean. Because if you're mean, we're just not gonna pay attention.
Yeah, our mottos of moms is we got no time for that. We got no time.
Constructive criticism, we love it.
I know. I like it's enough to be with the kids and feed the kids and keep them alive. So
don't have time for mean people.
What I do want to put in before we go is that when we keep talking about Delivery Diaries, I'm always, because I don't have anything in front of me. I don't have the mission statement in front of me right now. But it's just like again, going to the heart of the matter is through storytelling. It's we want you to be able to hear our stories, other people's stories, so that you feel like you're not alone in the world. So you feel like you're not alone.
That's right.
In your journey.
What was
family.
What was the thing that I wrote down?
It could be on the website, but I don't want to lose my. I don't want to touch the computer because it's glitchy.
No.
This is why it's an introduction. We'll get our act together.
I know. To provide. Okay, here we go. To provide information and education through storytelling so that all families will be included in the family making journey and no one feels alone.
Yes.
That's what we came up with.
Okay, and with that
I think it needs maybe a little refinement, but it's a good start.
It's a good start. And it's a good start. I mean, everyone listening, this is a good start. We just really wanted to get our feet off the ground. And that's it. Okay, thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Bye.